Well, I will keep this intro short and sweet. We are welcome to Ringsiders. Let me start that again.
Good one.
Welcome to Ringsiders. I fucked it up like Jamie. Fucking little ginger fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Ringsiders.
Who's Jamie? Sorry.
We've got one of our favorite guys on the show again. He needs no introduction because he is John Draper. John Draper, how the hell are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. Rivers, always a pleasure to see you. Even though you're very much coming across like a man in love all the time, which I love.
I'm very much in love. I'm glad that you've noticed that because I am very
you're
much
like
in love.
you're coming off like a young
fact,
Ethan Hawke in a love story.
On the couch right now.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, hey!
Hey!
Oh my gosh! Look
You're
at that!
Hey!
Aren't you the luckiest lass in the UK right now?
There she is.
She knows it. She knows. She's like. In fact, I am. Who is that grandfather guy talking to me right now?
In fact, look what we've just we bought just recently. Enthusiasm.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, like the first like 8 seasons. So I'm currently using it as a laptop stand. So but yeah.
But Rivers, you know me personally. You don't need to buy that DVD. You just call me.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. You just I've got my very own Larry David right here. So
John.
Yeah, he really does.
Not to steal anyone's thunder as well, but I actually have a girlfriend now too. So
what?
We're all in love.
Yeah,
we're all in love.
I have a girlfriend
Everybody's
as well.
In love.
Yeah, and she's lovely.
Is Jamie in love? I need to know if Jamie's in love.
He's engaged.
He's engaged.
What?
He's very much
What?
in love, so.
Oh yeah.
Engaged? No one told me I was engaged.
Yeah, he's engaged.
I'm currently engaged with the pint right now. But Jamie, I miss you, buddy. I didn't know you were engaged. I'll come to the wedding.
It happened last week, I think, wasn't it?
We're going out tomorrow to celebrate his engagement, which he's probably going to bill for, but we'll still go out and celebrate Rivers.
We might need to jump on a call or something tomorrow.
I think so. Yeah,
we might need to do. I don't care about that. I will do whatever I'm doing. I will stop and jump on the call. I swear to God. But I'm so glad to be with you guys. It's always a pleasure. Whenever you guys want me, I'm here. I appreciate it. I think you guys, and by the way, you guys are doing smashing right now.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are killing it. I'm always blown away with the guests. I'm always blown away with, you guys are good. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty
We're doing all right.
I don't know why Jamie isn't here, but I love the tradition lives on of our friendship. That one of you always finds something.
At least one of us has to.
Always. It used to be me for a solid year or so, but then
I know. I thought you didn't like me, and I was like, "Oh, maybe that's a thing. Like he doesn't like me."
I think you're awesome, John.
I didn't know. I didn't know. You're
definitely one of our favorite guests.
So. Yeah, genuinely.
I know I'm great, but I didn't know. I thought maybe because that happens sometimes. There's a lot of weirdness in the podcast.
John, you always do big numbers whenever we get you on, so we like you. You do big numbers.
I think people want to see Callum. I think it's because they want to see how much I'm aging because it's happening rapidly. If you heard the recent Break the Apocalypse. There are things what happens
like you hit 50 and it's just all downhill.
Yeah, I'm going to be 51 in a few weeks, and it's just it just does not stop. But congratulations on all of you being in love. I can't wait. I was supposed to be in the UK this summer, and doesn't look like it's happening. But I promise you, by hook or by crook, we will be together at some point, and we will have a lot of drinks. And then after I fly home, you'll be like, he's not as old looking as I thought he'd be. He's a lot less. He doesn't look like as old.
Well, I'll tell you something. Get yourself to the UK. We'll come meet you in Manchester. We'll go stand outside the lads club.
You have to pull me. I'm going to be hugging I'm going to be in front of Salford lads. Like I'm not going to be able to leave. My kid brother is playing. If you guys want to go, I'll talk to you guys offline. My kid brother is going to be in London. He's playing a big show out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my kid brother, my youngest brother, Mark.
Oh,
he's
cool.
Big show. I can get you guys hooked up out there. We'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, please do.
Speaking of shows, there was a big show recently. 2 days, WrestleMania. You know what? I'll say it. I'll eat some humble pie. I'm starting to enjoy the 2-day WrestleMania. Yeah. It's been a hard sell for me, but I'm starting to see the positives, and the reason I like it is because they're starting to call it WrestleMania Saturday and WrestleMania Sunday. Like you get Super Bowl Sunday, WrestleMania Sunday just sounds really cool. And I was like, you know what? The pacing of the events is so much better.
Yeah.
The matches get more time to tell a story.
I say it was actually quite an enjoyable pay-per-view. Both nights. Yeah.
I really think it was the best in a long time.
We've got a little cameo there.
Wait, is there a cat coming on?
Yeah, Sushi.
Your cat's name is Sushi?
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. Look, I'm gonna fall on my sword a little bit, and I talked about this on the Soup, which hasn't come out yet, but it will be coming out soon. I really was surprised with how much I enjoyed Saturday. Now look, it's impossible to not talk about the Cody thing. It's just not possible, right?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the show. There was the things I didn't care for, of course, but the things I liked, I really liked. Obviously, Stone Cold, and like I didn't hate the women's matches. I thought they were good, but I wasn't.
Was fun. Yeah,
the Stone Cold thing was fun. I mean, the crowd was amazing. The crowd was fantastic. And of course, the Cody thing, which we all knew, but we didn't really know, but we knew. Now, I'm going to ask you both the question about the Cody thing. We have to talk about it. Was there a quick second in your brain where you thought it was not Cody? Before the music, when the lights went out?
Yeah, I think for a moment I had this kind of sinking dread that it would be Shane McMahon. I really did. I just thought that was going to.
I had the same thought, Rivers. I thought you know what? I can absolutely see it backstage. Vince McMahon just thinks it's hilarious and says, let's bring Cody out, but tomorrow, and let's have Shane McMahon wrestle Seth tonight. And you know what? I was so glad when they actually did. The debut, let's be honest, I'm sure we can all agree on this. Cody's debut, from the entrance to the way he was presented, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Do you think, I'm jumping ahead of here, but do you think that maybe they're lining him up to be the guy that beats Reigns?
Yes. I might eat these words, but I'm gonna fall on my sword. First of all, Cody looked fantastic. I mean, that's the best he's ever looked in his life. Yeah. He looked like he's been waiting for this his whole life. And, you know, I have my Cody issues and they'll always be there. But I understood the importance of the moment. I was texting with my brother-in-law and he goes, this is enormous. I go, yeah, I immediately went on the internet and said, this is a big moment. This feels big. It looks big. I liked what Corey said when Corey went from undesirable to undeniable. Very cool. That was a very cool little thing there that I think people didn't pick up on. That I think if you watch it tonight and you listen to that, it really was super impactful. Like he said it right where Cody was about to step into the ring. And he was like, from undesirable to undeniable. I was like, wow, holy shit, that's good. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
And the match was very good. I actually thought the match was good. I didn't think for a second he wasn't going to go over. But, you know, it kind of changed it felt like it was changing things. I don't know. And maybe it's not. Did you get the feeling that this was something you're going to like think about or like, I mean, I'm sure I've watched it more than once. I watched it actually several times.
For me, it was on par with, like when I was there for the Hardys when they came back at 33. I was there in the arena. Honestly, as soon as that first bit of the Hardy Boys theme played, I got goosebumps, and I will remember that for the rest of my life. I can imagine this was the same.
Were people physically jumping up and down?
Oh yeah, honestly, it seemed like it didn't seem like there was one person sat down. Everybody lost their shit collectively, and it was amazing.
Isn't that why we watch this though?
Absolutely,
like, Rivers. Like, isn't this why we watch?
Exactly, for the big pops.
But the things that you go back, like, look, there's a very few things I think we can all agree on in the last couple of years. The Hardys sort of being one of the monumental ones. I actually think CM Punk walking out, I'll remember for a long time too. Yeah. Walking out on TV, watched it several times, watched it again. Cody walking out, and of course Stone Cold coming out to this 60-something thousand pop of screaming people, like of adulation, like, and he looked good. He looked great. His arms were huge. He looked in shape, and you know, he's not a young guy. You know, he's not.
He took a pretty sick bump as well outside the ring. That suplex was pretty, like, you know, for a 57-year-old guy, like, that was pretty impressive.
Didn't embarrass himself. Didn't shortchange the fans. There was a match. We saw Stone Cold wrestle. Stone Cold headlines. Guys, Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestled at headline WrestleMania.
Yeah, it didn't need to be a good match, let's be honest. It didn't need to be a clinic. It needed to be Stone Cold doing the greatest hits, and that's what he did.
Well, all Stone Cold really ever did back in the day was like punches and kicks and then a stunner, really. And that was kind of it.
But he had, if you guys remember, he had his matches with Brett, I think, are so understated.
Yeah.
I mean, his Brett feud, dude, where, like, when he passed out, that match was blood and guts. That was physical.
Let me ask you, which match do you prefer? Is it the Survivor Series or the WrestleMania one? Do you think? Which one?
I think the Survivor Series, because he wasn't the big. Yeah. Remember, he wasn't the big superstar. Yeah. He was this close, guys. Like he was like, you knew this was going to be your guy.
You put him right over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, but at that point he was like a superstar. But you know, I enjoy. I'll tell you one thing though about the card. And I'm just going to say this. I think they should have put Seth on and Cody on Sunday. I do. I think there was too much. Yeah, I think there was too much comedy. Too much like throwaway stuff, too much Raw SmackDown type matches. The Jackass thing, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Jackass fan. I'm not a hater. I enjoyed it because the crowd enjoyed it. You know, had the crowd turned on that match and just went, this is boring, I would have hated it. But the crowd was excited for that match. Were you surprised by that? By the crowd reaction?
I was surprised, but I think you're onto something there. The crowd enjoyment for me is always the first and foremost for rewatchability. Like if a crowd enjoys it, I'll rewatch it again. But secondly, you could see how much that Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville were enjoying it too. And that's always a selling point for me. You could tell that Sami Zayn was having a good time doing this. And Johnny Knoxville, I know there is a celebrity appearance and people shit on them, but he did his part really well. And it's the same with like Logan Paul and Pat McAfee. They both knocked it out the park. And Johnny Knoxville, like I said again, not a clinic, but it was a comedy match clinic. That was one of the best comedy matches I've ever seen.
Like the little device he set it where it was like hitting him in the bollocks, you know?
Yeah. That was funny. That was really great.
It was so good.
The crowd loved it. Popped huge for that when it actually worked. Right?
Yeah. And it was fun. I enjoyed that so much.
Yeah,
I'm sure Jim Cornette is absolutely.
No, he's shit on it. We talked about it on the Soup, but I haven't actually heard Cornette's comment. Now let me ask you guys. I'll start with you, Rivers. What was your favorite match from the first night and your favorite match from the second night?
God, the first night's a toss-up between Cody and Seth. And
if you had to pick one, which one would you pick? If you had to
probably Steve
Austin. One of them had to go away.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I started watching wrestling like 1991, and I kind of grew up into my teenage years with the Attitude Era. So like Steve Austin for me was like my guy, like late 90s. I'm like 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, and Steve Austin was my guy. So I think probably for the nostalgia, Steve Austin probably pips it at the post. You know.
And what about Sunday for you?
It's a little long, but I probably would go with Edge and AJ Styles. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solid pick. Callum, I want to hear it. Come on. You're the under the weather switchblade, so I'm going to call you Sick Blade.
Sick Blade. That's a great name.
Blade, by the way, that's a cool name. You should run with
it. It is actually good. That
pick your favorite Saturday and your favorite Sunday.
I think for day one, I'll go with the Miz and Logan Paul and the Mysterios, just because I was really entertained by everything. I love the Miz anyway. And I actually don't mind Logan Paul. So to see, I knew as soon as I saw his training videos, I thought this kid's going to be an absolute natural in a match, and he was.
I'm not familiar with Logan Paul. I know he's like an internet guy.
He's done some shady stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he's a shady guy. But
he's a shady guy.
He did look good in the ring, and he pulled off some good stuff.
He's a natural heel in real life.
Like last year with Bad Bunny.
I mean, you know, if this internet thing goes down for him, which I don't think it will, but you know, I could see wrestling being a backup plan. Absolutely. What about Saturday there? Sunday, Sick Blade. What do we got?
Sunday, I probably should go with Edge and AJ Styles, but I enjoyed Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. I just love Pat McAfee so much. I thought his entrance was amazing. Seven Nation Army, great theme for him. And, you know, everything in that match was, it was just it was a bit of a spot fest. Like, oh, wow, look at Pat McAfee doing a backflip and all this. But I think it worked really well. What happened after was terrible. I think that was the worst match I've ever seen. Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee. But before that, I really enjoyed it.
And can I ask you guys a question just to segue a little bit? What did you guys think of the NXT card?
Stand and Deliver. You know what? I watched the whole thing and I can't remember much that happened, but I think it's because of the placement of the show. I don't think it's great that it was on before WrestleMania Night 1.
Yeah.
Terrible, awful idea.
Bad idea.
Because now I can't remember any of the card, but the ladder match was awesome. I remember that ladder match was really good, and I love Bron Breakker. I think he's incredible too. I think he's an absolute future megastar on the level of Roman Reigns, if not bigger. But
how can he lose? Look, I mean, he's got every tool, don't you think?
Yeah, if he fails, it will. I can't imagine how he would. It would have to be something.
You think that you guys think if he fails, it's a creative failure and not his failure?
It would have to be. It would have to be. If right now he's doing everything he should be doing, they're letting him be himself. The way he does promos, his matches, perfect. You don't need to change it. If they try to change it, that's when it's going to fuck up. And the thing is, I don't trust them not to.
I can picture WWE like pushing him in the way that they pushed Roman Reigns for all those years. And they'll keep kind of like pushing him to the forefront. I think he might be like the next kind of the big guy, you know.
The guy.
He's got that written all over him. I think. Yeah. You know, for me, my favorite match Saturday. You know, it was shocking to me how invested I became in Cody Rhodes there for a few minutes. And for
really,
me, I was invested in it. Thought it was. I'm really. You guys know me pretty well. For me to say this is kind of a little shocking, maybe to some people who follow me. I can't believe how compelled I was by that happening. Like, because I recognized as a wrestling fan for 40 years plus that things like this don't happen that often. And it's, you know, and I thought the match was good. And I thought they worked really well together. And I didn't expect it to really go. I thought the match would be kind of a bit of a slop fest, to be honest with you, because Cody hasn't been in there. You know what I mean? It's like, how could they pull this off on paper? Right. But Seth can work. I mean, we all make fun of Seth and we go through our phases with when we hate Seth, whatever. Seth can work. He's not bad. So I appreciated that. And I have to say, Sunday, this is big for me too. The jacket on paper, I was dreading the Jackass thing. I was dreading it. I was like, oh no, with the comedy, I can't. But the crowd made me get invested, you know, and like, you know, that for me, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? I secretly kind of really wanted the Ronda Charlotte match to be good because I remember that first match when they fought where Becky had her nose broken. And that was one of my favorite matches of that year. I'm not going to lie. Do you remember the first time they really hurt it? Like they were really giving each other shit. I mean, Charlotte was whacking her with the cane until, do you guys remember that?
I don't remember.
It was Survivor Series, I think, a couple of years back.
No, it was the Clash of Champions. It was the thing where the champs fight each other. What is that? In each division?
Yeah, Clash of Champions.
Yeah, remember Becky got hurt and Becky picked Charlotte.
Oh, right.
And then Charlotte just was whacking her with a kendo stick hard way.
Okay. It ended in the DQ. I remember it ended in the DQ.
Holy crap, that was good. You know, this match didn't really impress me that much. I like the Becky Bianca. I like the story. I like Bianca so much, but I don't like the character. This is not a good baby face. You know, I don't think she's such a great heel when she was in NXT. And I've been saying this for a while. You can't say you're the best at everything and be a baby face. That's not how being the best works. Being the best means I'm above everybody. She's clearly an amazing athlete on every level, and she's doing great stuff for someone who hasn't been in the business long. She should be a heel. I just think she should be a heel. I'm really kind of a little over Becky. I've been over Becky for a long time. I don't think she looks physically good. I think she looks like she's got some problems. She physically looks emaciated to me. She doesn't look like an athlete anymore. Not that she ever looked so athletic, but she physically looks like somebody who is very, very drawn, you know, she looks emaciated to me. What did you guys think of the Becky Bianca match?
I like the match. I think Becky, as much as I don't like a character at the moment, I think she's still great in the ring. I think, like you said, Bianca's an amazing athlete. You put those two together, a good match. But yeah, it didn't do anything for me. Like, there's been women's matches previous years where they've been worthy of like a main event spot. This, I know it wasn't the main event, but it was the main event of the women's division.
Sure.
And it just didn't feel big enough for me. I don't know if it was the build or what to it, but I completely forgot the match was even happening until it did. So yeah, that's how bad it was.
And you're talking about major profile. What about you, Rivers? Like, were you invested in it at all?
To be honest with you, I fast forwarded through that match.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a few matches that I kind of skipped through, but that was one of them. Yeah.
Were you guys surprised how everyone was so quick to point out how amazing that match was? And you were like, I didn't even care. Like, was that like one of the matches where you were like, I don't get what the world is saying?
Yes.
I saw the same thing.
So many of those kind of moments throughout the whole weekend for me, not just from WWE, but some of the independent shows I was seeing. Like, it's almost like people don't watch these matches and they'll just say, oh, what an amazing match, just because they feel like it's the right thing to say. Like they have to say it, and then I'll actually watch it and I'll be like, did you actually watch this? That was terrible. I don't get it.
What was your guys' least favorite matches of the night? I'm just going to tell you mine real quick.
Go on.
For Saturday. For me, Saturday, I mean, this might be a little tough. Drew is just, Drew was
I forgot all about that.
The Drew Sheamus thing. That was such a TV match. To have Drew practically curtain jerk WrestleMania when 2 years ago he was the empty arena COVID champion.
Wait, who was he against? Was it Happy Corbin?
Sheamus.
Happy Corbin.
No, Baron Corbin. I'm sorry, I got confused.
See, that's Baron how bad Corbin. It is. They're so interchangeable.
The thing is as well, they made a big deal about him kicking out of the Baron Corbin's finisher. And I just thought,
no one's ever kicked out of it.
I thought they could have maybe, if there's more build or more excitement about the match, or like it seemed to fall flat for me. I'd have saved that for another time.
That was terrible. And then the women's tag on Sunday was so. Look.
Oh yeah.
They've given Sasha the moon and the stars. I like Sasha a lot. I have always liked Sasha, but it's time to just start moving on. The fact that they had to throw all these women in a weird tag team thing that doesn't, and then people acted like her and Naomi getting the belts is some big accomplishment. These made up tag belts, and it's like Sasha and Naomi were like big names in that division, and now it's just like, to me, I don't need to see these things. I would have preferred to have them off TV. What they could have been pre-show matches. What were your guys' least favorites? What's yours least favorite?
I'm with you on that.
Was the women's tag team the second night?
That
was second night. Yeah, I would say probably that for the second night. The first night, I would go with it was a shame because it was cut short of it with injury, but the Shinsuke Nakamura Usos match.
Yeah, I can't criticize that match because it was a fuck finish because of a young guy really got hurt. Like,
it was the biggest
night of his life. I'm not gonna.
I'd probably say because of that.
Dude, they changed the finish. They changed everything. I mean, that was kind of heartbreaking. Like I feel like so many big things happened, and I just feel like they rushed that kid out of there. And I know like everybody felt bad and nobody said anything negative, but it was just so sad that like. You just don't get moments like that. And like, you don't know if you're going to get back there like that. You know what I mean? Like you're going to win a belt on Dude, you were going to win a belt on WrestleMania. I mean, like, hello, like,
it's
deal, and
real shame.
Boogs is awesome. It's so good. Boogs,
yeah. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like a genuinely good guy. What was your least favorite for the Friday night? Is that yours too, Callum, for the Friday?
Yeah. I don't know. Which one was the...
It's tough.
Not because it was a bad match, because
it was disappointing.
The injury, just because of how things felt.
Whichever night Happy Corbin Drew McIntyre was on, that is my least favorite. I just hate everything about that. Like Drew, who is a two-time WWE champion, never won it in front of a crowd. He never really got his flowers, so to speak, winning it in front of a crowd. This is what he gets when he finally gets a crowd back at WrestleMania. He gets Happy Corbin, who I don't have anything against. I like Corbin, I really do. But this is the match he gets. Yeah. That's the best we've got. And I hated everything about that. And he kicked out at the end of Days, which apparently was some kind of cool moment. Again, like Rivers said, he shouldn't have kicked out. But... It shouldn't have happened.
For a bit,
save it
for something else. They should have saved it for something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
maybe a Braun breaker.
Yeah, maybe Braun.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool thing. Because obviously, Braun's getting up there at some point. Once they figure out who's going to get that belt or what they're going to do with the belt or whatever for NXT. But they had a great week. Look, it was a great weekend. I feel like the Saturday night between the Stone Colds and the Cody thing, it was hard for me to get invested in Sunday. And I talked about this on the Soup. I just felt like, the main with Roman and Brock. I feel like I've seen this so many times. I feel like I've seen this forever. That joke where Joker says to Batman, I was like, I think we're going to do this forever. That's like Roman Brock now for me, WrestleMania. Like, I just feel like this is forever now. What did you guys think of the main? I mean, what was your guys' take on the main Sunday?
Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the.
Yeah, that was the main. I mean, that's really the main event of WrestleMania. Overall.
That's the main event, right? Apparently, like they said, it's the biggest match in WrestleMania history. Yeah, that's what the market has. Yeah, fair play. They can call it whatever they want. And in kayfabe, it kind of was. So I thought the match, obviously, there was an injury to Roman Reigns towards the end. Looks like he's maybe, I don't think he's torn it, but he's definitely done some damage to a tricep. Yeah.
Tricep issue or something? Tricep?
From the Kimura, it looked like it. Yeah.
We'll find out tonight.
So he's got an announcement tonight on SmackDown. This will find out what's going on there. But I think if the match didn't have to be cut where it did, I think it would have been a good match. I just think it fell so flat because of that finish. It was almost like they just had to come up with something quick, and it was the most flat, deflating finish they could have come up with. But that's probably not their fault, given the circumstances. It just didn't do anything for me. I'm glad Reigns won.
Oh yeah, of course. I thought Reigns was going to win. But what about you, Rivers? What did you think? I mean.
Again, it was for me. It's just that kind of typical. Just hit the finish button on the PlayStation 4 and just keep smashing the finisher, and then it's over after about 10 F5s and 15 spears and whatnot, and then so it's a bit I've seen it before. With those guys. It would have been nice to see something a little different, but then again, they might have had something planned different if it wasn't for the injury. Who knows?
What did you think, John?
I knew something was afoot there, but I felt like, I just can't. I have a problem delineating from all their matches they've had together. Like honestly, like I just, I wasn't on board with babyface Brock, and of course that sounds so stupid to say now because it turned out to be pretty great. I mean, let's face it, that worked. Both of these dynamics worked. We cannot. I'm not a big Roman guy. You guys know that, but I will never sit here and say he has not excelled at this role. Mm-hmm. And I will not sit here and say that Brock has not excelled as the white meat babyface, talking all the time, talking. It works. It works. I think they need to get away from each other forever, honestly. And I'm afraid, I honestly don't think this is the end, especially if Roman might.
It's not.
I feel like this is forever. This is our forever now. This is our
It is. You said it so well. It's Batman and the Joker. They're destined to do this forever.
With each guy, the next round of this is going to be white meat Roman versus evil Brock. You know that, right? Like that's.
Oh no! Don't, John. Yeah. John.
Like sympathetic Roman. Brock's gonna be like, I don't care if you have lymphoma.
Do you think maybe? Can you see them? Can you see them maybe? Can you see them maybe building Cody to next Mania and then fighting Reigns for the title? Because after the family promo he did on Raw, like talking about his dad.
Yeah, I mean, well, the idea, we talked about this a little bit on the Soup. The idea is it's Rock Roman next year because it's in LA. Now, if they do 2 nights, the next night could be Brock Cody, which would be kind of sick, actually, and a kind of a weird story to tell. But I think at the end of the day, all roads lead to Cody winning the belt at WrestleMania. Like, that has to happen, right? I mean, I would be shocked. I don't know shit about Cody's contract. I know it's a lot of money, but like I'm telling a secret. But my understanding was this is a preordained circumstance that they were going to give him a run when the time is right. The time is definitely not right. Now, let me ask you guys a question. I really wish I would have brought this up on the Soup too. Do you think it's better to get Cody the belt quickly and unexpectedly, or have this long build up and worry about the crowd fall off of his interest?
Yeah, I'd build it for a year. Do it in next year's Mania. I'd really try and build it for a year.
But Rivers, that's a long time, and
it is. Yeah, You've got to
for WWE. It's a long time. You know,
you've got to pull the trigger now. You've got to do it now.
Yeah. Don't Callum, I'm not lying. Like, I honestly feel like it might have to be SummerSlam. Because the crowd is, and look, I wanted to ask you guys this too. I very publicly came out immediately and said Cody's entrance Monday, not that big of a deal. Didn't feel like it. Now a lot of people put me in check and said they were there, but did you expect Cody's entrance on Raw Monday to be a bigger thing? Because not when they pan the crowd, it seemed 70% mild.
It didn't seem like a post WrestleMania crowd, did it? Like a Raw after WrestleMania.
It hasn't felt like a Raw after WrestleMania.
No, it didn't. And with his entrance, it seemed like he'd already been there for a few months. Maybe the crowd were just tired from the weekend, but it definitely. I don't think it helped when he came up on his little Cody Vader and it stopped halfway.
Yeah, that was weird. That was kind of weird. It was like, oh, there's Cody's head.
There's his head.
We're just seeing his shoulders. This is weird.
Oh, it's so awkward. I loved it though. I love it.
Yeah. I was disappointed. I thought I was going to hear like this insane thing. Now, granted, again, he got me invested in that monologue. He got me invested in that promo. But I'm such a sucker for his dad. Like, his dad moves me. He just moves me when I hear people like talk about him, see pictures of him. Because I was buying wrestling magazines, guys, at like 11 with him bloody on the cover, fighting like Greg Valentine and fighting like Ric Flair and dog collar matches, and then him with the Road Warriors and the makeup. That was my generation of adolescence, you know. So I grew up with that man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up with that guy. You know, he's an American legend in this country. There are people that have never watched wrestling that will do a Dusty Rhodes impression. You know what I mean? Kind of like Flair. There's very few people in the lexicon of like this culture and this country's culture that people know who they are as wrestlers and maybe never watched wrestling. And if there's three of them, two of them are Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I think you guys know that for sure, right?
Yeah.
And Hogan. Those are the three. I mean, at the end of no sweat. I mean, you know, I have to say, I don't know what's going to happen with this whole equation with Cody, but I think it might be smarter to hotshot that. I don't think they will, and I know they won't. But the fan in me says do it quickly while it's hot. You know, while it's topical, while people are buzzing about it. Because let's face it, this could run its course long before WrestleMania in LA. But I do think all roads lead to The Rock versus Roman main eventing in LA.
That doesn't have to be for the title, does it? Really? So
that's the tagline for next WrestleMania. All roads lead to WrestleMania. The roads to WrestleMania. That's going to be happening next year. I guarantee. That's what they're going to shove down our throats.
Guys, I have a wild card thing. I'm going to say it here, and I might look stupid. But just bear with me one moment. I actually think I have another thing they could possibly do along with that for a second night, even if it's not title related, and that would be maybe having Cody main against Cena, having Cena come back. Because Cena's a big LA guy now too, making movies.
Cody Cena, that's interesting.
Cody Cena, like, you know, like a legacy kind of match. Like Cena's like, you came back here, blah blah blah, but I came, like that kind of thing. I could see it played out in my mind, like, you know, Cena being like vexed that Cody got to walk back in after bashing the company, and Cena could be like, I never bashed this company, even when I was making movies. I never said a word. Even Dwayne never said anything bad about the company. But for some reason, you do it, and everyone loves you. Like that kind of thing.
I like that.
That has legs to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, can you guys see that? Can you see that?
I'd never even thought of that, but now you've mentioned it, I think that's brilliant. So you've got Cena, this like 100% company guy who loves WWE, bleeds WWE. Cody shits on the company and then gets welcomed back like a hero.
And with the title. Yeah. What do you think of that, Rivers?
I'd never thought of that in a million years, but it's
cool. A great story. I mean, you could just imagine that story. It's a little reminiscent of Cena Rock, but on a totally different level.
Yeah.
I mean, because Cena literally has no reason to ever come back, and he's already said, I'm going to come back. He has no reason. Zero. He's a bigger star now than he ever was in his life from that TV show. From playing that character on HBO. So it's like, you know, but can you just imagine Cody turning on the fans after winning the belt and being a heel, and then Cena's music hits and people are like, holy shit. And then you get Cena gets that like reminiscent pop, and you have Cena flip the script. It was like last year, I had to sit and watch you walk in here in a room full of people that you insulted and tried to hurt this company and tried to bankrupt this company. And I had to sit where I was and I couldn't do anything about it, but I got time now like that. Like I could just see what a great fucking story.
I like that.
It's done right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Amazing, right?
That's the money match. Yeah. That's good.
Having Cody and Cena and then Rock and Reigns on like,
2 different nights. Yeah, 2 different nights. Very big.
That would be the biggest WrestleMania.
By the way, guys, very Hollywood too. You have 2 Hollywood stars main eventing 2 separate nights. You know what I mean? And of course, like Cody doesn't have to lose the belt or anything. He has the belt, just like Roman does. Rock is going to put his cousin over to cement that he's like this legacy guy. But I would love to see that. I don't know that we'll see it. But I think that's the only thing left for Cena to come back and do, right? I mean, what is he going to come back and do? Like he's did it all already.
He can't really go against Reigns again because that's all kind of done, isn't it? So
no chance. Can't go against Rock again. Can't go against AJ again. No. Can't go against KO again. And like these are all the signature guys. I mean, unless Braun's up there, maybe that could be a little interesting. I don't see that, but whatever. But I love the idea of Cody getting the belt as a white meat baby face, turning on the fans, and then having Cena come out and save the company name. Like, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. You'd be like, I have to, I got to win this back for the fans that you turned on as soon as you got the title. I love that story. I think it's a great story. I'd love to see it, but who knows? We don't know if we'll see it, but let's see. We got a long way to go.
What are your thoughts on the Triple H retirement as well?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that was coming. I'm more interested into whether or not him and Stephanie are still married. I think they're not together. Call me crazy. I think they're not together. I don't see him getting his role sort of crushed like that publicly in the company with him still married to Vince's daughter. I don't know what you guys think.
It was pretty brutal what they did to him, and what they did to his vision,
Yeah. Although it would have been great to have Triple H Cody. That's the thing everybody probably wanted to see, but it's never going to happen.
Unfortunately, it would have been nice to see him kind of, do the traditional thing and put somebody over on his way out. Yeah.
What do you think if Triple H is the one who brings Cena out and said, like, if it was up to me, if I get in this ring, I would fight you for the, to get this company name back, but I can't. So I had to go get somebody that I knew would stand up for the company. And then it's Cena. It's like, it's just this weird story.
Such a weird story, but I'd like it. I mean, that'd be...
It's compelling.
It's
Fans
crazy enough to work.
Yeah, but guys, what are they going to do? Like, what else are you going to do?
Exactly. I think that WWE could benefit from doing some more kind of out of left field bookings and weird kind of story angles, and just kind of, something a bit kind of flipping the script, something that's like all that kind of crazy shit they used to do back in the late 90s with the Attitude Era. They could do something kind of like flipping things over and kind of...
Agreed completely.
Just doing something really crazy and out there, like Triple H.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. They made more money this weekend than they've made ever. I don't know if you saw that, but the financials were
all-time record.
All-time record. And by the way, the response to the shows was very positive. Right? I mean,
every podcast I listen to, all good reviews. Yeah.
So what do you do with this goodwill? What do you just throw it in the toilet and go back to crappy TV? Probably. Let's be honest, that's probably what's going to happen.
Well, they kind of did on the night after, didn't they?
Really? It really did. And I think some of that was the crowd. I think the crowd tried a little too hard at first, and then they just kind of lamented, like they just kind of fomented into like, whatever, like, oh, it's just a regular Raw, everybody. It's a regular Raw now. It's a regular Raw. It's like, and it wasn't like the Philly crowd a bunch of years ago with Roman. That was amazing.
I didn't see the full episode of Raw. Were there any kind of surprise debuts or returns or anything like that?
No.
No, there was
Braun winning the belt on NXT belt. That was the
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel, yes. Cro-Magnum's Ezekiel. Cro-Magnon man. Geico caveman Ezekiel. That's what we got. We thought we were getting something crazy, and we got Ezekiel. But we did get Braun winning the belt on that night. You know what I mean? So that... Braun getting the belt, beating which is still don't understand the logic behind that. That was a very AEW type thing to have happen.
Yeah.
But I do have to wrap up soon. But since this is sort of topical, since this did happen, what were your guys' take on the Tony Khan claiming that bots are driving the internet for saying the product isn't very good?
I think it's probably one of the most batshit tweets I've seen in a long time. It's up there with the craziest things I've seen a promoter of a company actually tweet. If it's true, great, but it gives me very much, when the whole US president election thing was going on and people were blaming Russia of getting involved and stuff. That's Russian what it bots. Gives. Yeah, that's what it gives me the impression of, like, oh, it's bots. Bots are the reason AEW gets hate, and the only reason AEW gets hate is because people are paid to hate it. It's like, you didn't have to say that, like. But you chose to tweet it, and okay, whatever. What did you think, John?
People are kind of coming in my ass about it right now. So, but like I literally told, if Tony Khan has that proof, then I'd like to see proof of a valid drug test, because this is not a normal thing. He should have gave this to somebody else. He should have made Eddie Kingston do this or something, like, or Jericho or something. But Jericho would do this. But like, this is not appropriate behavior. I think the guy has this. Maybe he's just having like an emotional breakdown. But the fact that he's doing this the week after Cody debuts, the week after WrestleMania has the biggest numbers of all time, then right before SmackDown airs, a few hours before SmackDown airs.
All he had to do was provide a source. If you say you've got independent research,
give it to Meltzer, give it to Alvarez.
Give it to Meltzer.
And Alvarez are carrying it for him, of course. And
Meltzer, PWI, a journalist. Let them break it instead of you.
Give them your
information. Give them the sources. They'll run with it. But
I mean, I don't know. What did you think there, Rivers?
I didn't even see this tweet, so I have no idea.
He was basically inferring that a third-party company is proven. He has proof from a third-party company that the people leaving negative reviews about AEW are bots and paid bots. Yeah, it's not real people.
I think it sounds like he's getting a little paranoid about things.
Which
I'm not an expert on.
People are known to do when they're.
Bots, I might start blaming bots for all of my. If anything goes wrong in my life, I might just start blaming bots.
Well, the funny thing is, I put that out as a joke, and then some fan got butthurt and said, "This has very much show us the birth certificate energy." And I'm like,
it does.
And I'm like, well, but like, I said, well, this is also a guy who basically hired, people who were birthers. The Young Bucks' father was a notorious anti-Obama person and said he wasn't born in this country, and they got it scrubbed off the internet.
So really?
Oh yeah, you didn't know that? Oh yeah.
No,
the Young Bucks used to put anti-Obama things on the internet.
I know the Young Bucks they're quite right wing, aren't they? The Young Bucks.
Yeah, they're very low key about it now because they get paid a lot of money to pretend that they aren't. But the reality is, AEW is such a paradox to me because it's a company funded by a billionaire who is a right wing billionaire who is a friend of the president, who has a terrible reputation. And with his son, being the charge there, but it's Shad Khan's money. And I know in your country he's not exactly loved either, but he hires all these progressive wrestlers, and has this progressive fan base. But he was like one of the biggest donor. He was a huge donator to Trump. The Young Bucks, who are senior vice presidents, are notorious right wing people, notorious religious nuts. Just like the right wing in this country, they're notorious conservatives. And at one point, Cody, who accused me and the boys of having a Trump-like energy, was the only person I saw in the industry caught wearing a MAGA hat, non-ironically. So, you gotta, take all this with a grain of salt. I don't know where this leads, but I thought I don't dislike Tony. I just think he's obviously having some problems. He should have brought in somebody like dare I say Cornette, but he should have brought in somebody with real wrestling, who was going to be the real guy behind the scenes, behind the man behind the curtain, and let him be the billionaire boy who runs everything on paper. Yeah. He didn't do that.
You think he's taken on too much? Because now he's got
too much. Yeah,
he's got Ring
of Honor. This is
going to be all of his other outside of wrestling business.
Yeah, and this isn't his only business, guys. Yeah. So he's a young guy. He's not a bad guy. I don't. But
he's a good kid.
He's not a bad guy. I just think this is a little silly. I'm watching somebody's nervous breakdown happen in front of me, and instead of people who really love that product going, "Hey man, maybe take a step back, maybe give the reins to hire Kerry Selkin or something to run the company."
Yes, Kerry Selkin.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hire him. Hire or maybe give Steve Regal a real job, instead of an on-air job. but no, he's just going to keep doing this and doing weird things and cutting weird promos. And, and at the end of the day, I don't know how this story ends, but I feel like I've seen this story before and it doesn't end good. So maybe I'm wrong.
We just saw it. Right. We just saw a little bit of that at the Oscars as well, didn't we? Speaking of nervous kind of breakdowns and things.
Yeah, that's kind of breaking my heart. I was talking to my brother about that because my brother works in the entertainment industry. He works for Time Warner, and there's a lot of concern about his mental state, Will Smith's mental state. Like it's funny to make fun of this stuff, but at the end of the day, I don't want to see people who are in pain.
No.
But I'm saying, like, I'm just being honest. Like, I don't. Yeah. Like, I feel like these are cries for help, and instead we're just making excuses.
That Oscar speech was.
Yeah, we're making. Yeah, it was a cry for help, and like, and I think Tony is kind of maybe in a weird place where he's got all of this like big dick energy, but he's got a cocktail Frank in his pants, and it's just like, out of they still not breaking 1 million with this lineup. I still don't see how they're doing over 1 million. I still don't. I just don't. With this lineup, they should be killing it every week, and they're not. The women's division is a joke. There's too many people. There's too many cooks. That's I'll end it on that.
I completely agree, John.
And you have to stop listening. And I'll bet you guys one thing. You could save this forever. When this NDA runs out with Cody and him, whoever breaks that NDA, that non-disclosure, you are going to hear some crazy shrit that is going to blow.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
Out.
I will pay good money.
WWE have always like the big villains, aren't they? Behind the scenes, Vince McMahon's a bastard, and so on and so forth.
I'm good. Here's what
that kind of thing going on in AEW as well.
Here's what I'm going to say happened. Cody was given millions of dollars with his wife for very little, right? Cody wanted to take the reins of the company, and the other guys, because he was never really friends with the Bucks, and he was never really friends with the Bullet Club guys, or whatever. He bought his way into that. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm just going to say it. But Cody paid the Young Bucks to come and make those videos before. Like, he would fly them in, he would pay them to be on the elite. He paid them for that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. This isn't, and this, by the way, this is a fact. This is not me talking shit. We know this is a fact. Just look at where I come from in wrestling in terms of our win-loss column at the Soup.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep. Yeah. Okay. So trust me. So he would pay them to fly to Atlanta, first class, and they would get paid, and he would make videos with them long before this was a thing. Those guys, everybody had their vision, but the reality is Kenny and the Bucks are really good friends. They were in Japan together. Cody was never that person.
Yeah.
And there was always this was always going to happen. This was always going to happen. So I think Cody wanted to be bigger than he was with behind the scenes. And then Tony took the reins back, and Cody's ego was not okay with this. And he knew he had, unlike other people, he had other options. He had a legacy behind him. And that's where that, but when this NDA runs out, guys, we'll do a 10-hour episode.
Hey, well, speaking of, we'll get you back in July.
Absolutely.
Money in the Bank, we'll get you back in July. One of us will big time you. It might be me next time.
Yeah.
Or I might keep this going. I'm enjoying talking to you, John.
You're on a streak, man. Yeah,
you're on a streak, pal. Let's not. Don't turn on me yet. Don't turn on me. Don't turn on me. But I thank you guys for having me on.
Before you go, where can we find you? We need to know where we can find Break the Apocalypse.
Break the Apocalypse, available on all platforms. The unedited show is only available at patreon.com/breaktheapp. And download my album. My old
been listening to that on Spotify. It's great stuff.
Thank you. We might be releasing the video from the show, actually. I was just going over some footage. It's called Synthetic 16. It was an album I made in 2003 when I was in a touring rock band that just came out last year. Played my one and done reunion show in the fall of 2021. It's the first time we played in like 15 years, and it's probably gonna be the only time, unfortunately. But it's called Too Far Along, and you spell out the 16, and it's available on Spotify, Bandcamp, and Apple Music. Of course, you can find me at I am John Draper on Twitter.
Which most people do, I'm sure, because you are quite popular on Twitter, John.
I'm doing all right.
But thank you, as always, thank you so much for coming on, giving us your insight on WrestleMania. It's always a delight speaking with you.
Yeah, cheers,
you are one of our favorite people. But until July, John, we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Send my love to my friend of Big Time Me. And I hope all of you, I hope the love blossoms for all of your relationships.
Thank you, John. It means a lot.
Love you guys. See you
Love
later.
you.
Cheers, buddy. All right.
Bye.
Cheers.